for them who they can burn anytime they want. That's why they go and they recruit the Dennis Hasterts out of nowhere to put them in charge everywhere, because they can call them up and don't have to pay them. Don't even have to give them payoffs. They go, listen, you want the FBI to raid you next week? You vote like we say, or we're going to come arrest you. Perv, boom, they slam the phone down. That's how this country's run, with blackmail. As the aircraft landed Mina, to this day, C-130s full of cocaine, so heavy they come in hard. The trucks are unloaded, it's shipped into your communities, and you love it. I've interviewed Terry Reid, who was CIA, at the airfield, saw all of them out there. It was a party. And that's why they keep drugs illegal, so they can put you and your family in prison if you're dumb enough to use it, or they plant it on you. Yeah, this is hardcore radio. I've already gone so far. Why not just go all the way? Somebody's got to tell the truth. We're going to get into Bill Clinton, his latest. You can't have people walking around with guns. Close quote. Can we find the Dianne Feinstein, Mrs. and Miss America, turn them all in? I want to find that clip as well. Oh, but nobody wants our guns. They've just banned them in every city and country they get a hold of. The globalists. Oh, but nobody wants your guns. That's a conspiracy theory, too. Just like the death panels or Obamacare doubling and tripling cost. Yeah. And there is no Bilderberg group, right? Remember that lie? Mm-hmm. And there's no cancer viruses in the vaccines. And they don't give you diabetes type 1, even though it says it on the insert of the MMR shot. And they just think you're dumb, and they just think you won't go look it up. By the way, Terry Reid wrote Compromise, Clinton, Bush, and the CIA. He's been on the show probably 15 times over the years. We can't get a hold of him. If anybody knows how to get a hold of him, I want him back on the show. Please send us his phone number or contact info, or get a hold of him and tell him to call us. I want him on the show. I know he did work with WorldNet Daily like 10 years ago. Maybe you can call Joseph Farah, guys. I want him. I don't care how we do it. I want him on. And I want to get Larry Nichols on, too. We used to have his number, but that doesn't work. And I know he used to work for Bill Clinton, basically as unofficial chief of staff for decades. He can tell you everything. I can't believe we're having to warm back up the research, take it out of deep freeze on the Clintons. I'm having flashbacks. I'm getting nauseated looking at Hillary, a narcissistic, murdering witch. And these throngs of idiot women who have such weak identities that they go, oh, you just don't like Hillary because she's a woman. No, I don't like her because she's a crime boss. Just like I don't like Jeb Bush. He's a piece of crap. That's why I don't like him. I'm sick of it. Get out of your identity politics. Have some basic smarts. Have some basic dignity. Have some basic common sense, you morons. Man, you make me want to throw up. I'm going to stop right there. Briefly, we will run out of it. It did run out for about 3 days. I told you a limited amount was there at the laboratory. It was completed, was shipped here. If you want Survival Shield, Nason Iodine X2 at InfoWarsLife.com, or you want to get 20% off the ProPure super high-quality water filtration systems, those specials are all going to end very soon. One, because the Pro 1 G2 system, that special ends on Wednesday, just because that's when it's going to run to. The other is because it's going to sell out. Our emergency supply of Survival Shield X2 Nason Iodine has arrived. Last week we told you how hard it is to secure our exclusive X2 Nason Iodine crystals because they're deep earth source. Nobody else has that. And as of last week, we did officially sell out. We just received an emergency shipment from our manufacturer because they just had a small amount left that they had manufactured, well, that they were manufacturing, that we were putting up for sale on the store. We are trying to secure additional shipments of X2 from our deep earth source. Our exclusive iodine source is hard to supply. We dig over 7,000 feet below the surface with expensive drilling technology to ensure that our crystals are super pure and free of radiation or any other contamination. This is why I have my emergency iodine supply, and I've been recommending you stock up for yourselves. We simply never know when we'll run out of our Nason Iodine. I take Survival Shield X2 every day, and I have an entire supply stored away in case of emergency. Get your Survival Shield X2 Nation Iodine from InfoWarsLife.com right now while our limited supply lasts. And hopefully when it sells out, it won't be too long, but it's going to be a while regardless. Could be months, and we were sold out for 5 months of DNA Force, which is our super top-of-the-line Bio CoQ10, Bio PQQ, just top-of-the-line supercharger nutraceutical. And we've got the Lung Cleanse, the Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver. We've got Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Winter Sun, and so many other great products like Child Ease. So many others at InfoWarsLife.com. And your purchase makes the entire broadcast and everything we do here possible. So I want to thank you for your support. But you are getting the best nutraceuticals, whether it's OcuPower for your eyes or whether it is the Secret 12 or Winter Sun. All of them are the very best we can bring you at the very lowest prices. You can also call toll-free 888-253-3139. And the mailing address is on the website, Infowars.com. It is P.O. Box. Blow that up for me so I can read it. I never give the P.O. Box out and folks complain. Mail order is P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. And again, you fund our entire operation. We salute you. So here's Bill Clinton saying you can't have people walking around with guns. He says the civil unrest in Ferguson, the civil unrest in Maryland, the civil unrest in other areas is because of guns. Maryland has some of the strictest gun laws out there, and they've not been having shooting problems against the police there or vice versa. It's been cops shooting people that's questionable. So, well, you can't have the cops with guns? This is them inserting the demonization of the Second Amendment wherever they can towards federalization as the solution, as Al Sharpton admitted a month ago. So here's Bill Clinton, the cokehead criminal, back in our face, running a fake election against Jeb Bush. And who knows what deal they've got behind the scenes, who they plan on installing, Jeb or Hillary. But boy, give me a barf bag. Let's go to that clip.
What's killing all these communities is that everybody thinks every tomorrow is going to be like yesterday. You're toast. You can deal with poverty, adversity, anything, as long as they think it could be different. The Baltimore thing came on the heels of what happened in Ferguson and what happened in New York City and all these other places. And there's a big national movement about whether the lives of young African-American men count. You know,
hashtag Black Lives Matter, yeah.
Yeah. You can't have a bunch of people walking around with guns. I used to tell people when we did Bosnia, Kosovo, anything like that, you get enough people with weapons around and there will be unintended consequences.
Simply incredible. We're going to come back with a Feinstein in her clip earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, the West on record funded KLA Al-Qaeda out of Albania to invade and attack the Serbs. When their military repulsed the Al-Qaeda attack, they were called terrorists and their whole country was bombed. Their water plants, everything. And I'm not saying the Serbs were perfect, but the UN's own report said the Muslims and Croats killed double what the Serbs did and started it. And then that war criminal engaged in that. But this is the UN model of victim disarmament. We'll be back.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Vote for Jeb, or you're just fucking stupid.
Infowars.com.
Fool me, you can't get fooled again.
By the way, Shaquille O'Neal, someone controlling, I guess, his Facebook, put out some questions about the official story of 9/11. I mean, it's admitted now that Saudi Arabia was at least behind the supposed hijackers and that our government stood down. So all of us that are 9/11 truthers all deserve a major apology from the left and the right. We've been proven correct yet again. I mean, of course governments stage events. Of course governments allow attacks to take place. Of course governments provocateur. But Shaquille O'Neal said, oh, I'm going to fire whoever did that. And that was basically the end of it. So a little bird told me that we're going to try to get in touch with him today on air. I'll leave it at that. We'll see what happens. But truly disgusting. There's nothing worse than bloated cowards in the system who sit there and act like it's weird to point out that 9/11's been used to take our freedoms and set up a police state. And terror is what's being used to end our republic as we know it. And now the anti-terror initiatives are pointed at veterans, conservatives, libertarians, gun owners, and local governments. This is a foreign globalist takeover. The tools of war will be used on the people. And it's not for security. Now the CIA came out last week and blamed Bill Clinton, saying he dismantled the anti-terror system. That's actually true. Bill Clinton could have killed bin Laden repeatedly and ordered stand-downs and did dismantle a bunch of the networks watching al-Qaeda. But it's beyond that. But notice now the CIA is trying to distance itself from what happened because they know it's all coming out. And how are people going to feel when all of what happened on 9/11 came out? Do you really think you're going to get away with something that big? You're not. Oh, there might not be trials. There might not even be arrest. But in the court of public opinion and the documents, it's all coming out. But you just heard Bill Clinton go, you can't have people with guns. And then he talked about a government with guns. You see, opposing the UN's guns. The UN and NATO bombing Belgrade, bombing Kosovo. And to this day, every week it's in the foreign news that radical Muslims move into new towns and cities and murder the Christians. When it becomes a majority Muslim area, the killings start. And they go, oh, it's liberal, allow more in, do more. It's good, it's loving. I've got some sickening Hillary Clinton clips and Bill Clinton clips that are coming up in the next hour. But speaking of that, UN Human Rights Chief urges Europe, and I'm going to show this video, shock video, rioting migrants attempt to hijack trucks heading for the UK. We'll show some of this video now as I talk over it. UN Human Rights Chief urges Europe to accept more migrants, not illegal aliens, not people coming in out of Eastern Europe or coming in out of Africa or coming in out of Asia or coming out of... No. This came out under Tony Blair at the Channel. At the French side, they load the illegals up from all over the world. Basically, they get on trucks, they get on top of them, and the British police don't stop them when they drive up out of the tunnel. There's famous footage of them cheering as they jump off trucks and trains. Giant hordes as the third world collapses. The answer is bring them into collapsing Europe, bring them into collapsing U.S., give them voting cards, and within just a few years, they're police officers who can't even speak English ruling over us. The governor, Joe Biggs is going out there next week to report on it. The governor of Hawaii can't even speak English. That's how you conquer the West, and the globalists have done a great job while they sit offshore on their yachts.
Thank you for listening to GCN.
And Switzerland and a few countries that don't let people in.
GCNlive.com.
Everywhere else is broadcast. Shock video, rioting migrants attempt to hijack trucks heading for UK. And again, if you know the rest of the story, I tried to find this again. It was 1998. It was a British newspaper article, but they had the video embedded. And it was shocking as trucks came out of one lane and trains on another, like the South American train of death or Central American train of death. People were on the sides, on the top, and on trucks. And they would cheer and run past the police as they got off. And it turned out Tony Blair, you can look this up, this does come up, had done a secret deal with the EU. Well, now the EU just says you will set quotas of the millions of illegals you're going to bring in. And again, I have nothing against the desperate people out of Africa, the desperate people out of the Middle East, the desperate people out of Eastern Europe, the desperate people that are pouring in. But man, folks, have you been to India? Have you been to Africa? I haven't, but I've seen long-form documentaries and stuff. And I've talked to folks that have been there. I mean, you want to talk about scary? and then you add welfare to it, game over.